Hello everyone. I just wanted to make a video here to show you a quilt that my grandma made me back in the year 2000. So that was 26 years ago. And I wanted to point out a few things because I know I had said that I would talk about my grandma a little bit. And she's now 98. She made this for my birthday back in 2000. And I was 31 at the time. So I had two children, and here are their little hands. She had traced their hands and quilted those. And I just want to point out a few things about the quilt that are really special to me. First of all, she put the border, let me go up here so you can see better in the light. There's a kind of a rose border around it. It has roses. The thin border that you see there is really super pretty. And I know that she used some of the fabric that she had left over from other things in her collection, and then she probably bought more too. So all around the edge is that pink rose border, and then there's a thicker border around the outside edge. I'm going to go ahead and get an aerial view to show you the whole thing. And I don't think I can get the whole thing in the camera really, but I will go across this way so you can see it. I'm sorry the lighting isn't that great in this room. And then around the borders on the top and bottom, she used the overall Sam pattern. So it's the little boy with the big hat and the overalls on. And then the pattern that she used for the wide border part was he's called Overall Sam. He's just pulling wagons and flying kites and sailing little sailboats. So that goes all the way across the top of the quilt, and then she has the individual block with Overall Sam, and then she continued the pattern there. Now on either side, she has the Sunbonnet Sue. So this is the Sunbonnet Sue pattern fabric that she got. And it has little, flowers and buttons. Yeah, mostly flowers and buttons in it. And then she put a block with Sunbonnet Sue. Did I say Sunflower Sue? Sunbonnet Sue, I'm sorry. And then all the way down this edge, she's got Sunbonnet Sue fabric. And then over here on this edge, she also did Sunbonnet Sue. So on the left and right, she has Sunbonnet Sue. And on the top and bottom, she has the Overall Sam. And there she put, on this one, she stitched my name in the year 2000, and she stitched birthday. And I just love the little choices of fabrics that she used as she pieced this together. It was really cute. And then I'm going to show you the bottom. Here's the bottom border, and this was the Overall Sam. She put another block here of him flying the kite. All right, so now I want to point out a few more things about this. One thing that I need to say is that she hand stitched the whole quilt. My grandma, when she, in her days of quilting, she was a hand quilter. She never used the machine. I think sometimes she did use the machine to piece things together, the blocks, but other than that, she hand quilted everything. And here's an example of some of her hand quilting, just on the extra white part of the block. She always did such a good job. And then I wanted to show the different blocks that she has on here. So this is a full-size quilt, and she did 5 blocks across, 4, 5, and then she did 5 blocks up. So there are 10 blocks there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, not 10, 25. So there are 25 blocks on the quilt altogether. I believe it's full size. I thought she told me it was a full size quilt, but maybe I could be wrong about that. Somebody can let me know in the comment section if this would be a full size or not. I have a queen size bed, so I don't know. I know this is too small for the queen size, but it may fit a full size. And then I wanted to point out also some other things about it is that on each block, on each of the 25 blocks, she has put scripture. So she put different scripture references. I won't go through them all. 2 Thessalonians 3:16, Joshua 1:6, Luke 6:31, Psalm 147:8, Psalm, what does that say? 37:29. I have looked up some of these, but admittedly, I haven't looked them all up yet. But on every single block, she put a scripture reference. And I do intend to go back and look those up very soon. All right. Okay, so in addition to the 25 blocks and the scripture on the box, I want to point out some of the patterns that she used with her fabric. So I was trying to figure out if there was an exact pattern, and I kind of figured it out in some places. I'm not sure if I know in all of the places, but along this edge, as you can see, this was the outside edge border, and it has the pink flowers that have kind of a light purplish color in them, and then the green part. So she also used that pattern fabric along the top of each of these blocks on the bottom, and then she also ran it through, like what she did, I guess, is put it at the top of each row of blocks. And there it is there, and then there it is on the top there. So she used that pattern consistently throughout the quilt, and then every other border she has around each individual block is some type of floral border. I'm sorry the colors aren't showing up real well, but most of them are shades of pink. So you've got a shade of pink there. That's, I know it's not really showing up in the camera, at least on my end it isn't. It's more like a rose pink, and it's a floral. There's the same rose pink with floral. And then here's a rose pink with a different pattern of flowers, and then she used that one there. And then she went back to the first one that I showed you. And then there was another type of fabric she used. This is kind of a peachish color rose. And she used that there. She just used it in various places throughout. I don't know if she had something specific in mind that she was doing. I imagine she had an order to this. And then, let's see, we have more of a smaller print, more of a little bit busier flower pattern there with some blue, light blue, rose pink, and green is about, all that is, light and dark rose pink. She used that there. And then over here was another blue floral pattern with some peachish color. So she really liked pink a lot. She loves pink. She's still living. She's 98 now. She doesn't do quilting anymore. But she still loves pink. That's her favorite color. So obviously she put a lot of pink in this. And I think, let me just go through here and see. I think I've shown you every type of different variations of fabrics. Here's another one. So this is more of a peachish color that really blends in with this rose here, which I showed you up above. And this is just more of the peach in it with little white flowers. So I just thought that was so neat how she chose the different florals. And like I said, everything that she used as a border around each of the quilt blocks was a floral. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you a few things that caught my attention over the years. And I looked at it again this morning because I wanted to make a video showing everyone, especially quilters. I know you're really going to appreciate this. I'm going to show you some of the blocks. I think I'll just go through every block and show you each one. So there is the overall Sam, and she put a little schoolhouse. And this is just like a triangular or a diamond shaped pattern of different fabrics. As you can tell, this is old, and I wish I had taken better care of it, I guess, because that's starting to fall apart. And I did notice also on the edges, some of the edges are getting frayed. It is 26 years old, and I took it to her about 3 years ago, and I showed her how this is starting to get frayed. And she has dementia now, and even though she has dementia, she was able to tell me exactly how to fix this. Now I don't know how to fix it, but she knows how. She was explaining it to me. I'm not sure I understood, but she was explaining it to me. And then here's another little pattern. It's kind of a diamond shaped again, you know, smaller than that one. And then the hearts and overall Sam again. This fabric right here, I wanted to point out, and this is in another place in the quilt, I'll point it out to you. This right here, his shirt, was a watermelon fabric that she and I chose together when I was pregnant with my first child, and she made me a maternity top out of it. So she used some of that fabric. And then we've got Sunbonnet Sue chasing a butterfly and a fan and a butterfly. And then I guess this is like maybe somebody knows what kind of pattern this would be, but a heart in the middle with kind of a wreath thing around the edges, flowers and leaves. And then the gingerbread man and woman, this is all cross-stitched. If you look really closely, you can see it's amazing how many detailed little stitches she made. I'm impressed. I mean, I'm impressed with this whole thing, but I'm impressed with this. I would not have the patience to do all of these little cross stitches. And the boy has little heart buttons coming down and little heart eye, or little round cross stitch eyes. Then the next block is my son and daughter's hands when they were really little. And let's see, the hearts in the middle and the doves, or the birds up above, I'm not sure if they're doves or birds represent the anniversary, my husband's anniversary. And there is Sunbonnet Sue and overall Sam running, and some kites, a teddy bear, a basket, a house, a tulip, and a little square pattern. And I wanted to point out here in this one that this fabric right in the middle, this teddy bear, dark blue teddy bear pattern with the little honey pots, that was one of my maternity materials that we chose together at Joanne Fabrics, that she made into a top for me, maternity top. Then we have Sunbonnet Sue again, and just a little design of some sort. Not sure what it is. I think it's just a little flower, and some balloons, a tulip, and a flower. And this fabric right here is the same watermelon flat fabric I wanted to show you that she made my maternity top out of. All right, so I'm just going to go around and now show you some of the hand quilting that she did around the block, inside of the block squares. I think that's a sun. She put a sun there. This is the one with the house, and so she put a sun up in the corner and a cloud. And then down here are the grass and the flowers. She just quilted all of those. And then here's the basket. I think maybe these are flowers in the basket. Teddy bear. Another teddy bear, and there's the big one. There's a heart there. Some flower, a flower. All right. Okay, and now the last thing I want to show you is the back of the quilt. I'll go up high and show you the whole thing quickly, and then I'll get close, show you some of the details. She put one full, piece of material on the back there, and I don't know what this pattern would be called that's on the material, but it looks like sort of a stitching pattern. It talks, like almost everything on here is a quote about a stitch. It says, when it's stitched with your hands, it's stitched from the heart. And then this one is She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Now, my grandma didn't quilt that on. That's printed onto the fabric. The path to a stitcher's house is never long. Hands to work, hearts to God. When this you see, please pray for me. A stitch for me, a prayer for thee. Wishing you were here with me to share a cup of friendship tea. It's just so pretty and old-fashioned looking. I love the little, it looks like Holly Hobby to me. I don't think this is a Holly Hobby pattern, but it looks a little bit like Holly Hobby, but it's, you know, a little pioneer girl. Little houses, old-fashioned houses, and everything shows the stitches on the print and the little dotted lines around the top. It's just so old-fashioned looking. Looks, you know, like kind of a distressed color, the brownish, antique-ish color around each one of these. And just very, very pretty. All right, so that is that. And then over here in the corner, I'm going to show you one more thing that she sewed on here, made by Patricia 2000. So she embroidered that on there for me to remember. I'm really thankful that she took so much time to make this quilt. And of course, all of the, you know, quilting, the hand quilting shows through the back here. It's very lovely and it's warm, and I'm just trying to, you know, cherish it and preserve it as much as I can, because it's already 26 years old, like I said, and it's not gonna, you know, last long if I don't take care of it. And I need to do that. So I am going to show you one more thing that my grandma made me in just a second. Okay, so this is another thing that my grandma made me when I was a very little girl. I would say, I know it's hard to see the size in a video, but this is probably the size of a 1.5-year-old. So it's very small, and it was probably made back in 1970, maybe 1970, 71, halfway through 70. I'm not sure when she made it, but obviously it was when I was really little. And it has, let me show you the print that's on there. Just a little calico flower print. Very, very pretty. There's some elastic around the little sleeves. And the little, let's see, she put a pocket in the front, which is a real pocket. Let's see if it has anything in it. And then the collar and one little button there. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over, show you the back. All right, so this is the back. It's got a couple buttons, and then the little collar and a zipper. I'm going to unbutton that in a minute to show you underneath the pinafore. So I was a little pioneer girl when I was a baby. Isn't that sweet? I knew I had pioneer blood in me, you know, from the very beginning. It's all my grandma's fault. She turned me into a pioneer girl. All right, so I'm going to take the pinafore off here, and I want to show you what it looks like. All right, so now I've taken them off. It's 2 pieces. So wasn't she clever how she did that? So I could wear, you know, the little dress by itself, and then I could put it with the pinafore over it, and it would be perfect. 2 little outfits. Here's the zipper in the back. It went from here and then about down, I would say maybe a 6-inch zipper. I'm not sure if you can see that. Yeah, a little better. And the little pinafore is just so adorable. Kind of a cream color. And you can see the stains from, you know, wear over the years. So what happened with this is I had no idea that I even had this dress until I was an adult. And I had my daughter. What happened was that my dad was raising me, and when I outgrew this dress, he was just going to get rid of the dress, supposedly from the story that I was told, and just, throw it out or whatever. And my aunt, who is his sister, said, oh, no, don't throw it out. I'm going to use it for my kids someday. So when she had her daughters wore this too. And then when I got to be an adult, and I can't remember, I think it was my daughter was born around this time. I can't remember the details specifically. My aunt had written me a letter, and she gave me this, and it made me cry. When I got it, I cried because I didn't have much at all from my childhood, and it really just blessed me and touched my heart so much that she would think of giving this to me. And I finally had something from my childhood, and it was neat too that my cousins got to wear it when they were little girls. They were much younger than me. So when my daughter was old enough, I asked my grandma, hey grandma, this dress is a little old and stained and worn and everything. Can you make one for my daughter? So she said she would. And here's what she made. Isn't this adorable? It's almost just like it. It's just very, very similar. The fabrics are slightly different because so many years went by that she couldn't find the exact same fabric. But look how close she got. That's pretty close, And she just did a fabulous job with this. Obviously, she got more stains on hers than I got on mine. Maybe I didn't do a very good job washing it out after she wore it. And she put a little button there, just like on mine, and a pocket. And the pinafore is like the fabric feels different. It seems lighter and thinner, like it's more see-through as well. So you can kind of see my skin through the fabric. And on this one, it's thicker and heavier. And then I just noticed this actually. So the hem that she put in this one was a very thick hem. This is probably, I want to say 3 inches. This is probably a 3-inch hem. So she was expecting me to wear this longer, I imagine. She was hoping that I would wear it longer. And then in my daughter's, she put just a 1-inch hem. And I'm not going to take the pinafore off of this one, but I'll just kind of show you underneath. And then she did put the elastic here on the sleeves and the little, ruffled shoulders. And then this one also has 2 buttons on the back like mine did. And then I forgot about the little line there, the little trim that she put. And then it has a zipper as well. And I think that's probably about a 6-inch zipper. So she did a fabulous job making these 2 dresses very much alike. Don't you think so? And then one more thing I did want to say about it is you can kind of see the size difference here. So I guess that mine was probably maybe a 18-month size, 1.5-year-old, or maybe 2. This was more like a size 3, I would say. Maybe a small 3, 2.5 or 3. So it is slightly bigger because my daughter was older by the time, I asked my grandma to make this. So anyway, things made by grandmas are really special, and especially, when you're getting to the age, you're getting, getting older and realizing grandma is, not in the same health that she used to be, and she's not able to do these things anymore. It's really nice to have these to hang on to. And, I just realized I turned the camera, so I hope I'm not going to mess my video up by doing this when I post it. I don't know what'll happen. I'm not the greatest at doing this. Now I want to show you one more dress that my grandma made. This was for my daughter when she was a little girl. I would say it's probably about a size 5 or 6. She might have even worn it later than that. It's a longer dress. Very pretty yellow. Let's see if I can stand up and show you the whole thing. There we go. All right. There we go. And it's very pretty. You can get close up and see the print. This one was yellow. Some lace around the waist with the little ties for the back. And this one was like a little sundress. So pretty. Zipper in the back. And look at the little pockets. So adorable. So my daughter wore that when she was little, and I saved it. I'm so thankful that I saved it, because a lot of things that my children outgrew that Grandma made, I just gave them away. And she had made these really cute jackets at one point, and I got rid of them. And I just later, like, why did I get rid of those? I shouldn't have gotten rid of them. But I did save this, and I'm thankful I did. And I saved the other ones. And then this dress also has a pretty wide hem, maybe 2.5 inches. So we never did take the hem out. I think she probably outgrew it at the top before we could take the hem out. But I really like how, you know, in the past generations, dresses were made with hems in them. That way, you know, you could make the dress longer as you grew, so you wouldn't continue to just have to stop wearing it or wear it too short. And I really like that. And my grandma still had that mentality in her, you know, to make a hem and to give it some room for growing. And anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this. I'm going to turn my camera around. Hopefully I won't mess up the posting of it, but I hope you enjoyed the quilt and the dresses. And let me know in the comment section, do you have anything that you've made by hand, any clothing or quilts, or do you have anything special that your mother or your grandmother made that you held on to? And just tell me a little bit about them. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.